Have you ever felt that moment of sheer anticipation before tip-off, when the entire arena is buzzing because Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are about to unleash their dynamic chemistry? That's the kind of feeling so many Warriors fans carried into this new season, especially with those electric early wins that placed Golden State right atop the Western Conference standings. It was as if the past championships were echoing through every pass, every shot, and every celebration on the court. Yet, as the weeks rolled on, something shifted. Injuries, unexpected losses, and inconsistent rotations have led the team into uncharted territory, a place below 500, a realm usually unfamiliar to a squad known for dominance. If you sense a mixture of excitement, worry, and curiosity all at once, you're not alone. Today, we'll unpack the swirling rumors, locker room sentiments, and front office decisions that seem poised to shape the immediate and long-term fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. Anthony Slater from The Athletic has been instrumental in painting the real picture behind the scenes, and I want you to feel like you're right there in the locker room, absorbing every glance and every whispered conversation about what might come next. Let's dive into the heart of this storm together. If you take a moment to close your eyes and remember the first 15 games of the season, those were magical weeks where Curry's trademark three-pointers sizzled through the net at a jaw-dropping rate, and Draymond's fiery defense set the tone for a team operating on all cylinders. The Warriors soared to a 12-3 start, igniting dreams of another unstoppable run. Yet basketball can be a fickle sport. A few lapses here, a rough shooting slump there, and suddenly those dreams felt more like illusions. Losses started to stack up, and not just against the elite contenders. Some defeats came against teams that were, frankly, struggling themselves. That's when rumors kicked into high gear. Would Golden State pivot into trade talks to replenish its roster? Could the front office be enticed by a last-ditch gamble, sacrificing youth and future picks just to stay afloat? Fans, analysts, and even the players seemed to collectively hold their breath. You might recall the days when the Warriors' depth was the envy of the league, back when the bench regularly dropped double digits without skipping a beat. But the toll of several NBA Finals appearances and the aging of core players like Draymond and even the ever-youthful Steph can't be overlooked. The franchise's lifeblood, Curry, Green, is in its mid-30s, and that clock doesn't stop ticking. It's a conundrum that sets the stage for heated debates. Should the front office go all in, leveraging assets and picks for established talent to give Steph another legitimate shot at a title? Or should they protect the future, ensuring that once Curry hangs up his jersey, the Warriors aren't suddenly stuck at the bottom of the standings? This philosophical divide resonates in every conversation, from local sports radio shows to nationwide NBA talk. Before we go further down this rabbit hole of trade possibilities and strategic dilemmas, I want to pause and invite you to stay connected with everything Golden State. If you appreciate this balanced but passionate look at the Warriors situation, take a second to subscribe to Golden State Hoops. Hitting that like button also goes a long way. It lets me know you're enjoying these deep dives, and it keeps this community thriving. Now, let's talk about the tension that people like Anthony Slater have been reporting on. According to his insights, Golden State's front office is living on the edge. They're weighing how much to invest in the current season versus how to protect the team's prospects a few years down the line. Being mired in 12th place in the West is a far cry from the dominant force we've come to expect. Each game feels like a litmus test, and each loss ratchets up the pressure to make a move. Meanwhile, in the locker room, players can sense the vibe shift. Draymond's frustrations manifest in pointed comments during post-game interviews. Steve Kerr's usual calm veneer sometimes cracks when fielding questions about inconsistent rotations. Everyone wants answers, and the looming trade deadline offers the tantalizing possibility that a single roster tweak could restore the Warriors' lost groove. Right at the heart of this swirling uncertainty is Draymond Green himself, who made a bold statement about panic trades. In an interview covered by Vince Goodwill of Yahoo Sports, Draymond revealed that he, Steph, and Steve Kerr all share a cautious stance. They don't want to mortgage the future just for short-term fixes. It's a viewpoint that resonates with teams who have seen the pitfalls of all-in approaches. Look at franchises that surrendered treasure troves of picks and prospects, only to find themselves in a nightmare scenario when titles didn't materialize. Draymond's rationale might frustrate fans craving a blockbuster transaction to jolt the season back to life, but it also underscores the deep strategic thinking within this organization. According to him, bad teams do that. Bad organizations do that. The Warriors, in his view, will remain methodical. For a group that's tasted success repeatedly, the decision isn't merely about chasing another ring, it's about preserving the identity and long-term health of a dynasty in its twilight. Amid these strong stances, an interesting rumor popped up, courtesy of Greg Swartz at Bleacher Report. The proposed scenario suggests that Golden State might part with Moses Moody, who's brimming with potential but still finding his role, in addition to expiring contracts tied to Kevon Looney and Gary Payton II, all to snag a 7-footer from Toronto named Jakob Poeltl. Initially, this might make you pause. How exactly does Poeltl fit into what the Warriors do? The rational explanation is that size has always been a bit of a missing piece. Since the start of the Curry era, Golden State has primarily featured lineups that rely on speed, shooting, and switchability over a dominant interior presence. But every once in a while, especially when facing bruising big men or losing the rebounding battle, you can't help but wonder what a reliable, near 7-foot shot blocker could add to the mix. If you think about the potential synergy, Poeltl could thrive in those moments when Draymond initiates high pick-and-roll sets, or when Steph draws in defenders and opens up easy dump-off passes to a big man rolling to the rim. Poeltl has shown he can score efficiently, pull down rebounds, and serve as a passable rim protector, attributes that might inject a new dynamic into those crucial late-game situations. The question, though, is whether Toronto would actually bite on such an offer. According to Swartz, they might because the Raptors are in the midst of their own identity crisis, teetering between a rebuild and a retool. Shedding Poeltl's salary and gaining younger pieces like Moody could fit their future vision, especially if this season continues to slip away from them. Still, Warriors fans might balk at losing reliable faces like Looney, who's been a rebounding savant and a quiet leader for Golden State, or Gary Payton II, whose defensive tenacity became a memorable spark in past playoff runs. These aren't just names on a roster. They're pillars of the Warriors' cultural fabric. For every highlight reel block or dunk, there's a story of camaraderie that fans hold dear. Parting ways with beloved players can be emotionally charged, no matter the potential upside. That's the delicate dance the front office must navigate. They have to weigh whether the immediate upgrade of a 7-foot center, capable of a double-double on any given night, is worth dismantling pieces of a well-established rotation, especially when the team is trying to recapture that elusive blend of defensive grit and offensive fluidity. And then there's Moses Moody, a young talent with flashes of brilliance who hasn't quite carved out a consistent role. He represents a look into the Warriors' future, a 22-year-old who might be blossoming elsewhere if he's sent away. Imagine him in a system where he logs major minutes, perhaps becoming the kind of two-way wing that so many franchises crave. It's these what-if scenarios that gnaw at fans. If Moody blossoms into a star and Poeltl only marginally improves the Warriors' outlook, that's a sting the fan base could feel for years. On the other hand, if Poeltl helps Golden State secure a deep playoff push, maybe even another finals run, then the sacrifice could feel justified. That's the coin toss swirling in everyone's mind, the short-term payoff versus the long-term aspirations, balanced against the fleeting prime of Steph Curry. Now, I want your take because every Warriors fan's voice matters in this conversation. Do you believe that adding a bigger body like Jakob Poeltl could be the catalyst that vaults the Warriors back into legitimate title contention this year? Or would giving up Moody, Looney, and Payton chip away at the foundation that has made this team so admired, potentially leaving us in a more precarious spot down the line? Let me know in the comments. Your thoughts could spark the kind of debate that truly brings this community closer. And if you've enjoyed unpacking the rumors, the real statements from Draymond Green, and the unwavering coverage from Anthony Slater, I invite you again to subscribe to Golden State Hoops. This channel thrives on in-depth explorations, and we'll be right here to analyze every new twist as the trade deadline approaches. Your subscription and likes help us grow, and your comments add richness to our shared experience. So sound off below. Tell me what your gut is saying. Whether you side with maintaining the future or you're all in on the win-now approach, one thing is certain. The next few weeks promise to be a whirlwind in Dub Nation. And no matter what happens, we'll ride this roller coaster together, always holding on to that glimmer of excitement whenever Steph lets a three fly or Draymond orchestrates a perfect defensive stand. After all, that's what being part of this Warriors family is all about. Go Dubs!